just Julia doing all the work. Hello everyone, welcome to Monday afternoon live stream. I'm your host Peter and we're joined this week by Linda. Hello Linda.
Hi everyone, it is great to be back on live stream.
Good to have you with us, Linda, and good to have you all out there with us. Our topic today is cooking, English vocabulary for cooking. And this is always pivoting off of an article in your trusty Advanced magazine for the month of June. Today's article is called Hunt's Café Incorporated, Whisking Away Limits. And it's about this program in Texas that helps mentally challenged people to become cooks and to learn how to bake things so that they can go out and find jobs. So, good article, interesting idea, good chance to practice your English. Check it out in your Advanced magazine.
Yes, we already have some people saying hi to us. Hi Agatha, hi Steve.
Agatha. Steve, always good to see you. So as always, let's start off then with our poll question. You can chime in on the poll question and we'll give you the results at the end of the live stream. And in case we forget to, remember you can always find them now in the more information box under the video. So if we don't mention it in the live stream, you can find the results there. When I cook, that's your question. When I cook, it is because the food tastes better, I save money, it is a fun social event, Uber Eats is too slow. Now we're not trashing Uber Eats, they're a perfectly good business, I use them often, but you know, sometimes they can take a while or there aren't any drivers in your neighborhood or there's bad weather or something like that, so that can be a reason sometimes why you might instead cook. So, you know, some of us cook, some of us don't cook, but when you cook, you know, if you have ever cooked in your life, is it for which of these reasons is it for? It tastes better, you save money, it's fun, or just it's quicker than Uber Eats? Linda, when you cook, why is it?
I would say the first three reasons would apply to me. The last one doesn't really, because I hardly ever use Uber Eats. Like, for myself, I don't use it at all. But I usually cook because it does save money. That is a big reason. I can control what goes into my food, so it can be healthier. You know, we don't have that choice there, but
that's true.
It tastes better. Sometimes, sometimes a restaurant tastes better, but usually it will taste better. But it's definitely healthier if I cook myself. So those are the main reasons why I cook.
Great, great. And when I usually cook, which is not often, it's actually a variety. Yeah, sometimes it's fun if we're having people over for dinner and I'll make something and there's kind of a novelty value in saying, hey, look, we're going to eat something that I actually made. Ho, ho, ho. Sometimes it's quicker than Uber Eats, but the truth is my wife cooks much more often than I do. Let's see what you guys have to say. Agatha, you cook 4 times a week to save money. Good, there you go. Valerie, hello Valerie. Not sure we've met you before. Nice to have you with us. Uber Eats is too slow and becomes expensive now. Yes, no, that's true, definitely. And Peter Chung, hello Peter Chung, good to see you. And Agatha has another answer here. What does she say?
The taste is okay, but maybe healthier. After all, restaurants add all the sauces you don't dare to add to make it delicious. That is true, yeah, which makes it slightly less healthier. For some restaurants, if they add certain things, they might not be healthy for you at all. So yes, definitely health is another reason.
And Steve, there's a coffee shop at Dongmen Station called Dreamer's Coffee. And they had the best mac and cheese salad that every customer enjoys. Oh, mac and cheese. I've had mac and cheese, I've had salads, I've never had them together. That's interesting.
You should try that.
At the Dongmen Station. Okay, I'm going to have to check that out. Okay. But as always, we are here to give you guys vocabulary and give you a chance to practice your English, grow in the confidence in your English. So let's give you some vocabulary. Now, as always, we try to choose words that also have a meaning outside of the particular topic that we're discussing today. So the words we'll give you today all can be used outside of cooking. They have similar or sometimes even altogether different meanings outside of cooking. Let's start off with the first one. Great example, batter. B-A-T-T-E-R, batter. Linda, in cooking, what does batter mean?
So batter is a mixture of something that you dip food into. Let's say you're going to make fried chicken. So you have a batter that you dip the chicken into, which covers it, and then you fry it. So it's a coating on the chicken that makes it taste better. You can put different things in it, yeah. But usually to make the coating stick, you have to add egg or flour and a liquid and other spices. And then you usually fried chicken, after you put it in the batter, well, it's sticky, so you can roll it in cornflakes or something else to make it crispy.
Sure. All kinds of things you can roll it in because the batter is liquid or at least very malleable, and so you can add all kinds of things to it to suit your tastes. As some of you may know, batter outside of cooking has two main meanings, really. In American baseball, sport of baseball, when the guy comes up with the bat to try and get a hit, he's the batter. And we say, what happened to the batter? Did he get a hit? Did he strike out? Did he make an out? Who's the next batter in the game? Kind of a totally different meaning from cooking there. Also, batter as a verb means to pound something very hard. The storm battered against the tiny little shack, and we weren't sure if it was going to stand up. That's a verb form there of batter.
Right. And Valerie also likes Dreamers Coffee Shop. I have yet to try it out.
Dreamers, yes. And Steve says, Valerie, me too, and a great place to eat and to draw. That's right, Steve, with the drawing. Dreamers Coffee.
Yeah, I know that their cafes are quite big. I've never been inside one, but it's probably a nice place to sit and do work or draw.
So it's a chain?
Yes.
Dreamers Coffee. Okay, because it's starting to sound, I may have been to one once, maybe at Dogman actually, or in that neighborhood. I'll have to scan my memory, see what that was. Yeah. Meantime, let's give you guys another term, another piece of vocabulary here. Nice short words this week, actually. Most of them are. Here we go. Dice. D-I-C-E. Dice.
And in cooking, that means to cut up food into small squares, small cubes. Yeah. And dice, if we play board games, we use dice.
Right, which are also small cubes, basically, with numbers on them, dice. So there's maybe a way to remember the word there, because it's interesting, Linda, and I'm saying Linda because she does much more cooking than I do, there are like 4 different ways to cut up things when you're cooking. There's at least four different words. There's like dicing, mincing, chopping, slicing, and they all mean different things, right? The different like sizes that you are cutting it into.
Ways to cut it. Like slice tends to be very thin. Mince is it becomes very small, and often mince meat. So there are many different ways that you can cut up food.
Right, and there's a word for each of them. Who's
Violet? Violet says she cooks twice every day, and when she cooks, it is because cooking makes her feel comfortable at home. Yes. Yes.
I would fit that under it's a fun social event, although obviously this isn't necessarily a social event. Maybe we should have just said it's fun. I enjoy doing it. It's a fun activity, whether there's people around, whether there's not people.
Yeah.
Thank you, Violet.
Cooking can also be a way to release stress. It's a good way, like when you chop up those vegetables, you can release stress that way. And also it's just a way to relax. Yeah. Some people find cooking stressful, like that's if you're cooking for a lot of people, that if you have to do it every day, it becomes less fun, but it can be something of a stress reliever.
Yeah, right. It depends on the situation to some degree. And we have another person here whose name is in Chinese.
Qing Zhang Qing Yi.
Qing Zhang Qing Yi. Hello.
Zhang Qing Yi.
I like to cook because I like to eat what I cooked. Yes, exactly.
You know exactly what is in the food because you cooked it. Yeah,
right,
there's no mystery.
Yeah. Agatha, sometimes I make diced steak for dinner. Full confession here, I haven't had lunch yet, so I don't know if I'm going to make it through this live stream with all these wonderful ideas that we're getting about food and cooking, but I'll do my best. And Peter Chung, so a batter snack is not a misspelling. I thought it's butter. Yes, good point, Peter. Butter and batter, two different words. And in fact, now that you mentioned butter, let's jump ahead here and go to one of our idioms. We're trying to include more idioms now in the live stream in addition to vocabulary, so you can have these in your English arsenal as well. There's an idiom we have today that includes butter, so let's jump to it now. Butter someone up, to butter up someone. Linda, what does that mean?
So in cooking, we use butter to make things taste good. I love butter, so I'll put it on my bread, but we can also use it as oil. Usually we put oil in the pan if we're going to fry or cook something, but you can also use butter in the pan. And butter, like oil or grease, that helps to lubricate something. So if you're going to butter someone up, you are going to flatter them. You're going to say nice things to them because it's for a purpose. You want to get them in a good mood to ask them something or to request something or get something from them. So in order to make it easier, as if like when you would put lube or grease or oil on something to make it go smoother, you want to butter them up. So your request will most likely be granted.
Right. It's actually pretty similar to the way you literally use it when you're cooking. You butter up something, you make it easier to handle, you lubricate it, like Linda was saying. And it's the same thing when you do it with a person. Ideally, you make them easier to handle, easier to listen to what you have to say or agree with you or something. You butter them up. You give them compliments or you flatter them in some way. Butter them up.
Although buttering the food, like if you put butter all over a turkey, it does not make it easier to handle. It makes it very slippery.
That's a good point.
But it will make it taste.
But it makes it
much better.
Easier for your mouth to handle. Yeah, put it that way. Steve Gordon Ramsay. Ah, yes. Can't talk about cooking without getting to Gordon Ramsay at some point. One of my favorite chefs. He cooked so much delicious food. He has his own restaurant in Las Vegas. Yes, but one of the more entertaining chefs to watch. I've never had any of his food myself, but he is certainly makes good television, does Gordon Ramsay.
Yes, his reality series.
Yes. All right, let's give you another vocab and then we'll get to another discussion question for you guys. Here's an interesting one. It's going to be two words, and it's two words that are very similar, but they mean different things and related to cooking. So you'll see it now on your screen. Broil versus boil. Almost the same word, but the first one has an R and the second one doesn't. Broil versus boil. Linda, what's the difference?
The basic difference between these two ways of cooking is broil, you use dry heat. And for boil, you use boiling water. You use water that is boiling to cook something.
Right.
Yeah, so one uses water, one doesn't.
Right. It's actually a fairly simple difference to understand and to remember, but it looks very similar on the page. And both of them can be used outside of cooking for basically the same idea if you're in a very hot situation. Like, oh, it is boiling out there today. The sun is shining and I'm just boiling out there. You might just as easily hear a person say broil to describe the same situation. Broil, boil.
Broiling outside,
right.
yeah.
Because they're both about heat. It's just that in cooking, there's a technical difference because one uses water, boiling, and one does not. Okay, Peter Chong. There's a book, Everything Tastes Better with Bacon. So we can say the bacon butters my dish up. We could indeed, yes.
I would agree that bacon does make everything taste better. Yeah, just add a little bacon and it will improve your dish by far. But it's also cheating. Yeah, if you add bacon, that just automatically makes it taste good, along with butter.
Yeah, and from a health perspective, you don't want to be eating bacon every day or 3 times a day. It's kind of something you want to have now and then.
Yeah, you definitely want to limit your intake of bacon.
Although that is one of the great challenges of human existence, is to limit your intake of bacon because it is so good. Anyway, let's give you guys another discussion to chime in on. Simple one here. What is one of your favorite dishes to make? If you cook at all, if you have ever cooked, what dish do you enjoy making? Linda, what's one of your favorite dishes?
I used to bake a lot. I used to bake much more than I cooked. So before I probably would have said like cakes and things like that. But I've learned to like cooking more. And a dish that I make is lasagna. I like making lasagna. It still does use the oven. I like using the oven. So lasagna, it actually has a lot of steps and a lot of ingredients, but you put it all together like multiple layers and you put it in the oven and it's really good. Like the effort is worth it because lasagna is delicious.
Oh, great. I think for myself, and like I say, I don't cook very often at all. Let's just get that out there. But I do like to make scrambled eggs. Scrambled eggs, you want to start with, I like to start with butter in the pan instead of oil for the taste. And also, if possible, use an actual iron skillet. I know that you have to be careful with what you use to cook things, but if you are ever able to make scrambled eggs in an actual iron skillet, there is a difference in taste. And then sprinkle on a little pepper while it's cooking there in the skillet, and yeah, it's just a delicious dish. It's one of maybe 3 or 4 dishes I can actually cook. So I have a short list here, but that is the one I probably enjoy the most.
Xing-Yi says she likes to eat bacon with toast. Yeah, that is a good combination.
Yeah. And Peter Chang, spaghetti. Yes, good old-fashioned spaghetti. Pasta. Buongiorno. I like to make spaghetti too, Peter, actually, yeah. And so while you guys are letting us know some of your favorite dishes that you like to cook. Now, Linda, just a quick question here. You said that you used to like to bake more than cook. What would you say is the basic difference between baking and cooking?
Well, in baking, you put everything in the oven. So I don't have to stand by the stove and wait for things to cook or remember to stir it or remember to turn off the oven. The stove. But when I bake, I put it in the oven, I put it on the timer, and when the timer goes off or when I check it, then I'll take it out and it's cooked. I don't have to stand over the stove and stir and worry if it's going to burn. So that was why I didn't like cooking over the stove as much. I preferred baking. But now I do appreciate the process of cooking.
The greater involvement, the more physical activity, yeah. Steve says, if I want to cook, I'll cook a simple burger steak that I can enjoy, adding some French fries, some baby carrots, because I remembered teacher Rhonda told Steve to eat more vegetables. Oh, good. Teacher Rhonda, I don't know if you happen to be watching this. Teacher Rhonda is out of town for a few weeks, so we'll see her later in the summer. But if you happen to be watching this, Teacher Rhonda, good on you. Keep encouraging people to eat their vegetables.
Yes, we all need to eat more vegetables.
Absolutely. Yeah. Agatha says, I used to cook pesto chicken spaghetti. Yes, I love pesto flavored pasta once a week, but I'm a bit tired of it and I want to try something else. Let us know what you end up trying there, Agatha. Brian 17, what is that?
Yeah, Brian says, since my cooking skills are quite limited, fried rice is the only thing I can cook without any technical problems. Yes.
Sure.
Fried rice is simple to make, but to make it really good does take skill. Yeah. And fried rice is something very tasty.
Definitely. Valerie, I like to make egg salad, which is especially suitable for breakfast in the summer. Yes, nice, cool breakfast, an egg salad dish for breakfast.
Right, and Chingy says she likes to cook beef noodles.
Oh man, it's just a wonderful list here. We could sit here for another 20 minutes and just listen to what you guys like to cook. But we're actually winding down on time here, so let's just throw you 1 or 2 more vocab words. Oh, here's a nice one. Drizzle. D-R-I-Z-Z-L-E, drizzle. What does drizzle mean?
So drizzle is similar to sprinkle. If you drizzle like oil on the food, you just put a little bit, like you just kind of shake it over so that it has a little bit, sprinkles over the food. Yeah, you don't want to put on too much.
Right, and just like in cooking outside of the kitchen, when it's drizzling, that means a very light form of rain falling from the sky. It's not a shower. It's a drizzle. It's just barely coming down, but it is still, coming down. There are raindrops falling on you, but it's very light, very thin, kind of pleasant sometimes to walk in if it's not too cold and you're not in a hurry.
You won't get drenched if it's just drizzling.
Right, it's just a drizzle. Maybe take an umbrella, maybe just make sure there's a hood on your jacket or something. I just want to
say something else about why I like cooking more is that it's really good for the third option. It's a social fun social event, it does bring people together.
Yes.
I can invite people over and cook for them. If I was just baking a cake, that wouldn't suffice as dinner or lunch.
Right,
so
right.
cooking a meal for someone or friends, that is encouraging.
Right, because when you're cooking, I mean, there's the payoff when you all eat what you've cooked, but also cooking enables you to include the people in certain ways, if you like. Just like a mother in a kitchen will include her children in preparing the meal. And, okay, Jimmy, you can open the can, and Becky, you can stir up the whatever's in the bowl, stuff like that. So there are ways with cooking to incorporate people and make it, even more of a social event.
Yes. Agatha says, these days I try to buy pre-seasoned meat to save time, but it does cost more. Yes, because it saves you some steps, but you have to pay for it.
Yes.
And Peter says, drizzle a little vanilla extract. Vanilla extract we'd use in baking, but it's very concentrated. So I would say you don't use very much to begin with. You use it at most like a teaspoon in cake. So I'm not sure if that counts as like if after you pour your teaspoon, you just pour it in the batter, the cake batter, and mix it. I guess you could drizzle it, but you use a small amount to begin with.
Oh, and what's his
Jing-yi.
Jing-yi says, our family have a tradition. The tradition is that everyone bring their own dish to the table. Interesting.
Yeah, sounds like a potluck.
Yeah, that's what we might call a potluck. And Steve, I hope Sizzler restaurant will return to Taiwan in the future.
Yeah, there might not be much hope in that because I think Sizzler went completely out of business. Yeah,
dear.
it's not even in the States anymore.
Oh,
Yeah.
goodness. But even more bad news, I'm afraid that's all the time we have today for our live stream. We'll just throw one last idiom for you as we ride out of here in the sunset. Have bigger fish to fry. Talking about frying fish here. And so if someone says, I have bigger fish to fry, Linda, what does it mean?
You have more important things to do or take care of than the thing that is like currently in front of you. Yeah.
And believe it or not, we do have actually more important things to take care of. So we have to go fry our bigger fish and bid you guys farewell for now. Have a great week. We will, of course, be back next Monday with a new topic, with more vocabulary for you, more chances to practice your English and interact with us. But for today, I'm Peter.
I'm Linda.
Saying bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Back to the kitchen.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't know what happened here. It's stuck to the bottom of the bowl somehow.
Yeah.
What do you got going there?
I have this batter.